Hello and welcome. Introduction to Greek Theater, Magic to Mania. The Greeks of the classical period are credited with formalizing and codifying drama, focusing on human actions, emotions, tragedy, and comedy. However, the origins of drama are rooted in the ceremonies and practices of a more magical necessity that has a means or purpose to educate, entertain, or edify. These were public performances and pageants, and perhaps the first rudiments of what we know as drama, and was meant to ensure the well-being and survival of the tribe or clan. They were a means by which to gain a control over the natural elements and environment, for early tribal cultures felt that they were empowered in regard to the natural elements and sought to manipulate them in ways that were essential to the survival of the tribe. They felt they could command the elements to rain or shine, ensure a successful hunt, or a plentiful crop through rituals and practices of sympathetic magic. Sympathetic magic seeks to command elemental outcomes through imitation or mimesis. For example, individuals would gather together to perform a rain dance, and by mimicking the gathering of clouds and the burst of rain as public dance, they felt they could make it rain. Or the tribe would designate a member to dress as the desired prey of a hunt, let's say a bison, while other members act out or mimic the hunt. The prey ultimately surrenders itself, symbiotic relationship with nature, to the hunter in this dance, and this practice of sympathetic magical performance would ensure a successful hunt. Within the tribe, a particular individual might be consistently luckier than his mates, and when he danced, it rained more often than when others did the same. This individual became the tribal magi or shaman. Ultimately, the shaman's luck would run out, and he ceased to be able to command the elements. And if he could not command them, then who could? A shift occurred within the view that humankind could command the elements, and this turned to a plea or prayer to whomever does command nature to ensure a thriving livelihood. Thus, shaman turns to priest performing prayers and rituals to appease the gods, and from the raised fist that commands the thunder, a move to the pressed palms that request a fertile rain. You can see that these public performances contain many of the characteristics and features of what we know as drama and theater: actors and audience, storyline and action, costume and conflict. By the 5th century BC, drama began to take on a more regimented form and new focus, namely the actions and outcomes of human beings rather than gods, monsters, or animals. Drama became divided into tragedy and comedy, whose forms and differing variations is still with us today. As your reading in the module states, the Dionysia festivals included competition for the tragedies presented. Aristotle watched the performances and categorized the qualities in the plays that took top prizes, and offering arguably the first formal criticism of literature to the world in his Poetics, which is contained also in this module. Aristotle believed that both tragedy and comedy served a social and, to an extent, psychological purpose. Watching a tragedy, an audience is supposed to experience two main rising emotions: pity for the hero who will fall, and fear for ourselves, in that, if we were in the same situation, plot, we too would end up in the same state. Having aroused these emotions through watching the play, the curtain comes down, we wipe our brows and say, thank goodness it was only a play or a movie. Thus, having aroused these emotions of pity and fear, we then purge or expel them. But having gone through the experience, we are strengthened so as to deal with the real tragedies we face in life. Briefly, comedy serves as a corrective for foolish behavior, thinking, policy, conduct, etc. Since no one likes to be laughed at, when we laugh at the clown or object of ridicule, on some level we say to ourselves, don't act like that or I'll be laughed at. When a man slips on the banana peel and falls, we who witness it and laugh will more likely look about us to make sure we don't fall. This is indeed too brief for such a monumental subject. Enjoy learning about the origins of drama.